guide to the senses.
Touch, sight, smell, hearing, and taste. The rich sounds of a symphony orchestra. The visual splendor of the natural world. The subtle notes of a fine wine. Our senses help define what it means to be human. In the animal kingdom, we're alone in seeking out pure sensory pleasure.
Lovely day, isn't it? Beautiful.
But they give us far more than just an appreciation of beauty.
Every second, our senses gather millions of details about the world around us, feeding our brains a constant stream of information. By interpreting those signals, we can feel the lightest touch, hear the quietest sound. They're our only link with the outside world. Every experience we have is entirely shaped by our senses.
For over 40 years, Horizon and the BBC have followed science's bid to learn how our senses decipher the world.
Ba, ba, ba. I've seen stimuli thousands and thousands of times, but the effect still works on me. I can't help it. Ba, ba.
Discovering how they equip us for survival.
The eyes are moving about all the time. They're darting around 3 times a second.
And charting the advance of pioneering technology that could step in if our senses fail.
Ooh, good boy. Well done.
Now we're going back into the archives.
This is BBC Two.
To reveal how our understanding of the senses has changed.
As you look at me now, what I really look like is this on the back of your retina.
So we can begin to answer the disarmingly simple question: how do we sense the world around us? Sensory conditions can be caused by damage to the brain. Horizon followed the case of John Alderson, a man whose eyes work perfectly, but who finds it difficult to make sense of what he sees.
I think that I'm not doing too well.
John, I understand that 5 years ago you had a stroke and you've been having some trouble with your vision since.
Yes, that's true. They've told me it's called visual agnosia, which I, being a good, well-brought-up Greek scholar, knows it means I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know who's with me, but somebody who I hope is not too upset or tries to... They're being terribly approachable or something. Oh, wait a minute, yes, I recognize my wife. Because I know what shoes she's wearing.
When he's identifying objects, he only seems to pick up bits at a time. You can see when he tries to identify things, he goes around picking out the very noticeable parts of objects. He knows it's a pig because it's got a curly tail. So what it looks like from this is that he's only getting fragments of the world. In a way, he sees the bits, but he's unable to pick up a whole picture of what the world should look like.
So when John looks at what is for us an obvious scene, he has to try to determine what it is from individual details.
Building over there, John.
What, the tall one?
Yes.
As it's got very large windows and sort of very extended corner pieces,
Yes.
and something right at the very top that looks like a flagpole or something equivalent. I'm not awfully sure, but it's not a domestic building. I think it's more likely to be some form of storehouse or storage building.
Well, I don't think the owners of the building would be very flattered by your description, but let's go on to the next.
Although John's failure to recognise the Houses of Parliament is bizarre, it gives us an insight into how we must structure detail in order to recognise this object as a tower at all. Through John, we glimpse how from a collection of lines we create order.
Studying agnosia helps scientists understand how the brain interprets visual signals, but they still don't know enough to help sufferers like John.
A church, it must be.
No, I'm sorry, dear, you're wrong. It's the Houses of Parliament, and that's Big Ben.